Hello and welcome to the second episode of Just Roll With It. I'm your host, Brooke Holzhauer, and today our topic is going to be how to grow through what you go through. So I'm basically going to be giving you guys coping mechanisms, how to deal with what you're dealing with, and I'm going to try and be as specific as I can because I know in the last episode I wasn't super specific, at least I didn't think so. So in this episode I'll be going more in depth with that, so let's get started. So my coping mechanisms that I personally deal with and what I personally do to make myself feel better is usually along the lines of creative stuff, such as playing guitar or listening to music or taking photos or looking at photos or filming a video or something along the creative lines like that. Poetry too is another one that I have really been getting into recently. So, I recommend all of those things, especially if you're already a creative person. If you are not, then that is totally okay. You can try it out at least. I think that trying is just as good as actually going through it, I guess you could say. Like, trying is just as good as doing it and succeeding at it. But being creative is great because it allows you to just freely do what you want to do, be who you want to be, and there should be no judgment involved with that. And if there is judgment, then it's like, it doesn't even matter. Like, if you're getting judged from other people, it doesn't even matter because it's your creativity and you're showing it off, and that's the most important thing. And if it's helping you, that's even more important. Mainly, my poetry consists of just like what I'm thinking about at the time, and I kind of just make it into a poem, try and make things rhyme, because that sometimes is incorporated in poems, not all the time. But I do usually rhyme in my poems. I don't know if that means anything, but I'm just trying to tell you guys what I specifically do with that. I can try and maybe tell you some of them, but also, like, you could look on my Instagram. I've posted the ones that I've wanted to post, on my main account, and my photography account as well, but I can actually pull one up on my phone right now and tell you guys one. So this one, I think I wrote in November. I think it says November 3rd, 2021. So it says, "My testimony is a song lyric, written in tongues for aesthetic. But as I'm writing, I'm trying to find the right thing to think about and talk about, then proceed to forget about. Just like the sun in a way, 'cause it comes out for the day, then leaves and nobody says a thing. And that is similar in this sense, 'cause when I speak my truth in a sentence, it'll be forgotten about, just like the sun when it's not out and about." So I don't know why I really like that one, but I think it's just like, it was spontaneous. A lot of my poems are spontaneous. I also don't know if that means anything specifically or not, but it usually doesn't take me long at all to write a poem. Like I said, I just write about what I'm thinking about, or something I've been wanting to say, but in a creative way, sort of thing. Sometimes it has a specific message, sometimes it doesn't. It's kind of just like interpretation. What I like the most about poetry, especially the poems that I write, is that I think most of it, if not all of it, is just up to the reader's interpretation of what it actually means. I don't really want to tell people like exactly like what the specific meaning is, because sometimes I don't even really know that well with a poem of mine or somebody else's, but I just really like how poems are able to be interpreted in any way that it can be, any way that you think of it, basically, and it'll make sense, because if it makes sense to you and if it helps you or if it interests you, then that's the most important thing of it. Another creative outlet that I personally like and that I personally do and that I've seen YouTube videos of, many YouTube videos of, is makeup. So even if you don't have a YouTube channel, you can just like do it for fun, like at your house by yourself. You don't need to be with anybody unless you want to be, and you don't have to make a video out of it unless you want to. And I think that that's a good way to start a YouTube channel if you ever want to, or if you have like a really small channel, is to do a makeup tutorial, because it'll probably get a lot of attention, hopefully mostly good attention, and if not, then try and think of it in a way where if somebody's judging you, they're probably getting judged a lot too, whether they realize it or not. So try and think of it that way. Like, yeah, they're judging me, but they're probably getting judged a lot too for the same thing or for different things. So try not to worry about it too much. I know that it could be hard to like ignore it or not say too much to the person, but you have to be the more mature one in the situation and kind of just walk away from it and let them know that you're doing good, whether they judge you or not. But anyway, I just think that makeup is one of the best ways to express yourself. I just really love what you can do with a brush or an eyeliner pencil or a lipstick or anything like that. Like everything involved with makeup, even blush. It's just like crazy what you can do, whether you're good or not that good at it. If you like it and if you're having fun, then that's really all that matters. If you feel good when you're doing it and after you're doing it, that is what matters the most. Not the judgment that you get, not how amazing you are, not how, good people think it looks on you. It's how you think of it. So, some other things that I think are pretty good, that can help you cope with what you're dealing with or just kind of like maintain peace of mind, is getting a job at a store you like. So, yeah, I think that that's a pretty good thing because not only are you enjoying where you're working, but you're working for money. So you're getting two good things out of it. It's experience and money. And also another thing, you're like enjoying the atmosphere. So you're not just working to work, you're working because you like it. So I know that it's not easy to get even just like to get a job in general. It's not. You kind of have to push yourself to do it in most situations. But it's especially not easy to get a job at a place that you like. And it's harder to get a job in a small town or just in an area where there's not so many different businesses. It's like all grocery stores or small businesses and stuff like that. I understand. But if you live like in a big city, it might be a little easier. Or it could be harder for you. It really just depends on like the person you are and what you like and how old you are, stuff like that. Taking a walk every day around your neighborhood or if you walk to school, that's even good because like you can just listen to music and kind of just like go at your own pace unless you're rushing and you have to run to school. But if you walk to school or if you like to walk around your neighborhood or you like to walk your dog somewhere, that really helps maintain peace of mind, and it's just like a little escape for the day. Even if it's like for 10 minutes, that's fine. It doesn't have to be for like a half an hour. It's totally fine if you just take 10 minutes out of your day, even if it's not every day, and you walk your dog or you take a walk by yourself, you listen to music, or you take a walk with a friend or you walk to school. I think all of that, any of that helps. Because you get to just walk. Like, you don't have to worry about anything else. Like, you just have to walk. Make sure you're being careful, though, of course, Like, watch where you're going, watch the people around you, stuff like that. But, you're just kind of focusing on walking or listening to the music that you're listening to and not much else. So, I just like that idea because it's a little bit of an escape. Also, another thing that I think is really helpful is eating at least one food that you really love throughout the day. So, for me, I love chocolate. So, almost every day, if I can, I have a little bit of chocolate, whether that's Nutella or a Hershey Kiss or ice cream or something like that. Even though it's not healthy for you, at least it's one thing that I like that'll make me happy, that'll make my day. So, I think that really helps because not only do you love it, but you're eating something too because you gotta eat. So, it's important to eat at least one thing that you really love if you can, and just stuff that you like. Like, you don't want to be eating stuff that you don't like, Eating lunch with a friend during school or hanging out with a friend after school or on the weekend is definitely a helpful thing because you're not by yourself. You don't have to like overthink everything. I mean, coming from an overthinker, I can overthink at any moment, whether I'm in a crowd or by myself with one other person. whatever, with whoever and wherever I am, it is like possible to overthink. But I think that it's a lot easier to overthink when you're by yourself, and when you're with one other person or with a couple of other people. It's a little bit harder because you could be focusing on them talking or what you guys are doing. So yeah, I just think that it helps because you don't have as much time and as much like space in your brain, I guess you could say, to overthink. Even though it's still possible to overthink, it's not as possible. You won't overthink as much as you would if you were by yourself. Another thing that kind of ties in with the creative aspect of coping with what you're dealing with is digital journaling, kind of like what I'm doing now. That's what I like to call it. Or regular journaling on a piece of paper, in a journal or on loose leaf paper, whatever you have available. I think either of those things are really great because, like I'm doing now, I posted this stuff. Like, I understand it's on the internet, anybody could see it, but that's like kind of what I like about it, is that people can listen to this and follow what I'm saying, or take it into consideration or anything like that. I really appreciate it. And also, if they support it, if they like what I'm talking about, that's also important to me. And just genuinely, if I'm helping people, that's important to me. And this also helps myself too, because I'm talking to myself pretty much. I'm talking in the voice memos app, so I'm talking to myself, but I'm also talking to 30 people or 10 people or 20 people, whatever. So, like, with digital journaling and journaling in a journal, you could keep it to yourself, you could post it, you could share it with a friend, a family member, whatever you want to do. Excuse me. Whatever you want to do is up to you. Whatever you feel comfortable with is totally fine. Keeping it to yourself is probably like the best thing, unless like you want to share it with like your therapist or a close friend that you could trust, then that's also fine. But I do this because I call it a podcast. I like calling it that. I hope that it kind of is in a way. And I do want people to see this because, like I had said before, I want to just genuinely help people and make people feel seen and heard. So maybe this could be classified under the creative outlet category, I guess, but this is reading. So if you enjoy reading on your own time, if you find it fun, if you find it informative, interesting, whatever, then this will definitely apply to you. But if you do not, then I'm sorry, this won't apply to you. But I think reading and writing are great outlets, coping mechanisms, whatever you want to call it, because it could teach you things that you didn't know. It could interest you in things that you didn't know you were interested in before. It could just like build up your skills of reading and writing without you even realizing it. I'm not a huge fan of reading, but I do like writing, especially when I get to be creative with it, like poetry and, I don't know, things just along that line. I like it when it's creative. If it's for school, then it's not as exciting as it is, like, on my own time. But, if I actually find a book that I'm interested in, then I will try to read it. I have a few books, and they are topics that I am interested in. Like, I'm seeing one on my desk right now. I'm looking at one on my desk right now. And it's called Heavier Than Heaven, and it's a biography of Kurt Cobain. And I started to read it. I didn't read much of it at all. But I'm going to try my best to read it because I don't always enjoy or normally enjoy reading for fun. But since it is about Kurt Cobain, then, like, I definitely should read it. And I've also seen a documentary on Kurt Cobain. Movies and stuff like that are also good outlets because they could interest you in things that you didn't know you were interested in, and just like pull you into the topic of the movie and the characters. It could like help you relate to a character maybe, because a lot of people relate to fictional characters in movies and TV shows, whether they're animated or not. I think a lot of people relate to at least one character, and that's, like, kind of cool to me, because it's, like, interesting to see because behaviors within us, like, they're repeated. So that is definitely, like, an example of how behavior and mental illness is repeated. And another thing is shopping. This could be in-store or online, whatever you have access to, whatever you like the most. I understand that shopping is hard for some people because of the money reason, or you don't really know what you're interested in. It could really be, like, different things. For me, I like both in-store and online. Online is definitely easier for me to do. But in-store could be fun as well because you can, like, see everything that you like in person and try things on. So it's, like, more helpful, I guess. But online is really cool too because you get to, like, browse the whole website without even being in the store itself. I just find that really cool and helpful as well. And you don't have to spend a lot of money. Like, if you just want to get, like, one or two things, like a shirt and pants, or just a shirt, or even, like, just an accessory, if it'll make you happy, then get it. Obviously, don't, like, splurge, and don't spend your whole bank account on clothes, but get what you need, get what you like, and just enjoy it. Like, make sure that you're enjoying what you're buying. Don't spend too much money because then you're going to think about the money more than the product that you're receiving. So I think that wraps up this episode of the Just Roll With It podcast. I hope that I was specific enough. If not, I can always make a part 2 to this in episode 3, but you have to let me know if you liked it by giving this a thumbs up and subscribing if you're new. And I really hope that you guys are enjoying this so far. Even though this is only the second episode, I really hope that I have helped at least a couple of people feel good about themselves, or heard or seen, because that is my goal for this podcast. Anyway, that is it. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.